Welcome in, hockey fans in the desert Southwest. Only I'm not in the desert Southwest today. I'm in the central part of the United States, Maryville University. The head coach, director of hockey, a little of everything. In his office, John Hogan. Everybody in the Southwest will know John Hogan from U of A time. John, thanks for having me in.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for venturing out our way. Not really a desert Southwest anymore. Kind of more desert, maybe Missouri a little bit. But thanks for having me. Well, we welcome to have you.
Okay, so rumor was out there that you guys are going to be hosting the ACHA national tournament in a year or so. So when I heard that, I said I got to get out and see this new facility, which I understand is what 1 year and 5 days old or something. You were telling me here at Maryville.
Yeah, about 1 year old. We're super lucky to be here at our new home, the Maryville University Hockey Center, and in a year centene, where the Blues play, we'll be hosting the national, or I guess the 21-22 national tournament, and the Maryville Hockey Center is also going to be helping out and hosting that. So we're excited to have that, and you know, after this 2020 year gets behind us.
2020 year is something that we all dealt with, right? And I'm sure you've dealt with it just like the rest of us. But when let's start right there. This is a year and 5 days old. This beautiful facility that we're sitting in, and you'll see. We'll do a little walk around when we're done talking. But tell me a little bit about what this year has been like for you.
Yeah, it's been challenging. For coaches, for our players, for the university, there's no playbook when it comes to a pandemic in 2020, and I think it challenges us to keep a perspective. It challenges us to the mindset and the outlook that we have to have. And if what I'll be telling our guys and our girls now is, we can live in a world of can't, of what we can't do. But why don't we try to refocus ourselves and try to think, well, what can we do?
Sure.
And it's kind of that half glass full against half empty approach that we're trying to have. And you got to be hopeful. And hopefully, come 2021 and the first of the year, we're playing again. And it's the teams that take advantage of this opportunity in the next 3 to 4 months, that keep that perspective, keep that mindset. Those are the teams that are going to be better off when the new year comes, and then also just down the line is at a program like Maryville, when you're still trying to grow the culture. So you try to take advantage of some of these opportunities as difficult and as challenging and as heart wrenching as they are sometimes.
This was a big challenge for you, and I know you accepted it with open arms and wanted to come back home and take this challenge on. And from everything that I've seen so far, the job has been done very well. So kudos to getting it off to a great start. But tell me about the challenges of starting a program from scratch. The building helps,
Yes.
but it's not easy, is it?
No, and the first year, I was actually still recruiting this team from Tucson. If you
Right. I
if
do remember.
if you recall, accepted the job Feb 1 of, what would that have been, 18, and recruited a team from Tucson while still finishing on my master's and still finishing up coaching there. So that in itself was relatively difficult. But we played at Afton, which is another rink about 20 minutes away our first year, and got a group of about 20 young men that accepted the role of being kind of that inaugural team, and we had an absolute blast. And then we moved out here, and after a year, we had two teams at the ACHA 1 and 2 level with this brand new rink, and and the Blues won, and you just try to,
Right.
some of the things, they you try to do the right things, and some luck and some bounces come your way. So with the rink, with the Blues winning, just that momentum, that wave, you try to ride. So we continue to ride that, and now we have our women's team starting this year. So in 3 years, we have three teams. Not a lot of schools, not a lot of programs can say that, and that's all with the great leadership and kind of backing of our university. So we're super lucky, and again, you try to do the right things. You try to bring the right people in. I always say, the Herb Brooks, not trying to find the best ones. You're trying to find the right ones. And when you build a program, you got to focus on the culture. You got to focus on bringing good players that are even better people. So you invest in those people because they'll go recruit for you. They'll build your culture for you.
Right.
Um, we've had some bumps in the road. We've had some growing pains, but that's just part of it. And you gotta embrace them and learn from them.
Okay, so speaking of growing pains and getting started, you got your coaching career started after a playing career at the University of Arizona. Um, 5 years ago, when I started our company and I went down and saw Chad for the first time, he was in a similar situation. There's some history, obviously, at the University of Arizona, but he was pretty much starting over from scratch. So, how much did you take away with what you learned as a player and a year under your belt coaching there to put into this program?
You know, it's a good question. Um, I talk to Chad when the season's going, almost every week, maybe twice a week. Um, and it's funny, some of the things that I talk about, some of the things that I'm going through, it's deja vu for him. Like, oh my God, you're just 3 years behind me or whatever. Um, and now when we go back and forth and have those conversations, and he's talking about where he's at, and being top five now and making a national tournament run. I'm always there to kind of just say, wow, Chad, these conversations have changed, haven't they?
Right.
You know, and again, it's all power to him, and you can't find a guy that's more invested, willing to do the hard things and to build a program. And he lives and dies University of Arizona hockey, and he's had long nights and he's had growing pains, and you just try to bounce ideas off of him because I know he's been through them. Um, and sometimes that road to the top, when you do it the right way, it's hard. It's harder and it's longer. But no, it was awesome playing for him. It was phenomenal coaching with him, and I learned a lot from him. And he's a good friend and he's a good mentor. So I'm sure I'll talk to him in the next 48, 72 hours about something. So he's a great friend, and just a guy that you love talking hockey with.
One thing that I remember very clearly is the time that your first year, and you brought your Saints to play at the Tucson Convention Center.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me about that. Just reflect on what that was like to go back there, so closely removed from playing there, to be a coach on the other side.
Yeah, selfishly, personally, it was talk about full circle like that. And we have a lot of family out there, and it was fun to have my family out there, and over just a span of only a year removed, it was a lot of fun, and pretty proud moment for personally, but selflessly, for us, it's all about trying to give opportunities and new experiences for these kids.
Sure.
And when we went down there, we bussed there and took a sleeper bus, and we got there and we got off the bus, and I had kids from Toronto that had never seen a cactus before.
Right.
You know, and when you get off the bus like that and you start doing things like that, and you're there in November and they're jumping in the hotel pool, and we're going on hikes, and they're playing in the convention center, and they're kind of going like one of these, like looking around like that, like what? That's what it's all about.
Right.
That's what college is all about. It's about those new experiences. And I'm sure a Maryville M has never been seen in Tucson before. So from a big picture standpoint for our program and for our kids, that was more meaningful to me just to see. And we had some Arizona kids that are from Phoenix and having their families come down. It was, I think the scores were like 5-1 and 6-2. So our goalie stood on his head, and we competed hard, and relatively competitive games. But for a first year team, it was fun to be there. It was fun for me to coach there and full circle. But for our guys, what an experience! What an experience to go down to Tucson and be able to experience something new.
Okay, so before we wrap up this segment, I want to talk a little bit about the Tucson part of it. For those that don't know, shame on them for not following me closer, but I kind of latched on to you and Toppy, your twin brother, 4 years ago. I thought you were great players. I thought you were a great physical specimens on the ice. Um, and not only that, but great people off the ice. So when I gravitated to you guys to get some stories in, I don't know if people remember just how important you two were for Chad and building that program. And I know you're going to be humble and not want to say much about it, but you guys are really the mainstays. And Chad will tell you that and tell anybody that'll listen that you two were the ones that kind of got the foothold in. So how proud of you as a Wildcat alum are you to say, hey, we were a part of what they're building right now?
Well,
I knew it. I knew it.
you were right that I will be humble in my answer. You know, we got down there, and there was a different coach there, and they were going through some things, and we decided our freshman year that we didn't want to. We just, let's get out there, and hockey was never part of it.
Right.
But anyone that's ever played the game, it's hard to get out, and it's a part of your life.
Right.
You can't just
It's in your blood,
you
right?
can't just drop it cold turkey. So our sophomore year, we started out there, and Chad was, you know, first year there and going through some stuff, and he's like, I'd love to have you, and he was willing and able, and fortunate for us, allowed us to be on the team our second semester. So as much as people say that we helped, Chad get through some of those foundational years to then have him build on top of it, we can't thank, Tucson, we can't thank the university, and we can't thank Chad enough for just giving us a chance and kind of restoring our love for the game. And if Chad would not have given me, my brother Toppy, that chance, I probably wouldn't be sitting in this room right now and building this program. So for us, it's a two-way street. It's when you're a twin, and your twin is a second team All-American, and it's just about giving him the puck. I don't know, from a physical specimen standpoint, I don't know why you mentioned that. Toppy might have been. I was the slow one that just gave him the puck. But
well, let me tell you this. I know some guys on opposing teams that did not want to feel the wrath of the Hogan brothers if you wanted to lay some wood in the corners.
Well, that was Toppy, and if Toppy got hit in the corner, then the brother kind of in me would come out. No, we just tried to outsmart ourselves out there and try to outsmart the opposing team and just make our way out there as slow as we could. But no, as playing at the TCC, playing ASU in some of those games, and being able to go to the national tournament there as a player, it was a tremendous time, and can't thank everyone enough out there. But we're just two small pieces to the big puzzle. That's all it is.
And you left out one piece. You initially wanted to be the stats guy. You asked Coach Berman, right? You asked him if you could do stats before you got on the ice. Is that correct?
I went to Chad. It was the first semester our sophomore year, and I said, I missed the game. I'll do whatever you want. Like, I just want to be a part of it. I want to be, help you out as much as I can. And he said, well, if anyone knows Chad, he loves his stats.
Yeah.
So when he said I need kind of someone that knows the game to do some stats for me, if that's face-offs, turnovers, all that kind of jazz. So I did stats the first semester, and as we've talked about already, sitting up there for a little bit, you're like, do I still have it? Can I get out there? Long answer to your question, but yes, I was kind of the stats boy for my freshman or my sophomore's first semester.
So the bottom line in this segment, folks, is you never give up. You always keep the blood flowing for the game, and look where you're at. You're sitting here in this beautiful office at Maryville University. Let's take a quick break, and let's come back, John, and talk specifically about this place and what it means to you and what it means to grow in hockey here in the St. Louis metro area.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back on another Sunday special with John Hogan from Maryville University.
Looking for your next car? Head out to 2401 West Bell Road in Phoenix and stop in at Bell Ford, the Arizona Ford Giant. Come in and check out our great deals on the remaining 2020 Fords, as well as the new 2021 models just arriving, like the new E450 pickup truck during our summer outdoor and SUV sale. Voted the #1 Ford dealer in Arizona by Ranking Arizona, we will do what it takes to make your car buying experience safe and convenient. Shop online at bellford.com. We will bring everything to you on your schedule. Schedule a test drive. Need a repair? We'll come pick up your vehicle and bring it back to you. Our sales and service professionals are ready to help in any way to make sure you are happy and satisfied. Go online to bellford.com or call us at 1-602-866-1776 and let us show you why we've been the dealership that keeps Shane Doan coming back year after year. The Arizona Ford Giant, Bell Ford.
And we're back, another Sunday special from outside the desert Southwest in the greater St. Louis, Missouri area, Chesterfield. Is that correct?
Chesterfield, Missouri.
All right, that's where we're at. We got John Hogan still with me, the head coach, director of hockey, a little bit of everything here at Maryville University. We're going to take a tour, as I promised, of this beautiful facility. But we talked in the first segment, John, about your ties to the desert Southwest and the University of Arizona, and that's pretty clear, your love for that area. But nothing like being at home and starting a program fresh and getting a building like this, which is, again, I'll touch on it, folks. It's a year and a day old. Yep. So a lot's happened over the last few years. But tell me about Maryville University. Talk about how you decided to take this job and where it's been over the last 2 years.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I was out at Arizona finishing up my master's and being a coach out there, and came and the dean of the school actually coached myself and brother when we were younger, and he was looking for a coach to start the program. And you know, it was January, and he had still not found anyone for August.
Right.
And you know, Maryville isn't the hotbed for hockey players at that point. It wasn't, you know, there's 10 or so hockey players on the campus and, you know, just fill in some holes. So I think they had to find someone young enough and someone crazy enough to take the job and say, you know, we need 20 or so players in, you know, 8-ish months. And on top of that, can you do that from Arizona? Right. And I was, you know, I was crazy enough and stupid enough to throw my hand up in the air and say, let's give it a go. So that's how it got started. And I'm a homebody. I was always, you know, I loved Tucson, but I was always going to come home to St. Louis, and kind of a family boy at heart. So I was always going to come back, and it was a great transition the first year. You know, worked for my dad while also working at the university and building a program, and then, you know, starting last year, kind of got brought on full time as director of hockey ops, Swiss Army knife, whatever you want to call myself. And it's just really taken off. And with this rink, talk about just kind of turbocharging your program. You know, I'm the first to say that we have support like not a lot of other schools in the ACHA from a university standpoint. And you know, when you get a rink like this, it really puts yourself on the map, and pretty easy to walk into a recruiting pitch and just say, you know, put a packet down and say, what about this? You know, how's this look for you? And even if they haven't heard about Maryville University as an academic institution, you grab their attention pretty quickly.
I bet you do.
Yeah.
Well, I drove in, as I told you this morning, from Kansas City, and as I came in, I thought, man, what a great drive, first of all. What a beautiful, picturesque area. I've been through St. Louis before, but not really paid a whole lot of attention. It was kind of just passing through. And this time I wanted to take a special point of seeing what was here, right? And I haven't been here long. I'm going to be here a little longer to see it. But the first thing that caught my eye was the branding. When I pulled into your parking lot, I said, wow, Maryville University Hockey Center. I mean, that just like, I was thinking NCAA Division I right off the top, because that's the kind of thing you see. You don't see many of these facilities, or I haven't at least, for a quote-unquote club ACHA program. Yeah. Tell me about what you wanted to do to make this program stand out.
Well, kind of first to that point, you know, you mentioned it. We refuse to use the word club here. Yeah. Usually, there's a kick in the behind if someone says it while I'm around. So you know, when you have a university that understands the branding aspect that Maryville does, we do a great job. If it's Blues hockey games, the Cardinals, you know, the M is starting to become that much more powerful in St. Louis, but more in the region. And when I was brought on, Dr. Lombardi, our president, was, this is kind of the best kept secret in St. Louis, but we want to get that secret out, and we are. And sports in an athletic program can be the front porch of your university.
Sure.
If that's going to Tucson, if that's going wherever you're going throughout the nation. So our university, more than any other university that I've been around, played against, they understand the importance of branding yourself, and it's not just the big M on the side of the building. It's not having the naming rights for a facility. It's all the little things that also go. If it's putting an M here, putting the Louis logo here, and branding yourself the right way. It's no power to me. It's the university that's doing these things and understand the power behind it. So, it's really fortunate, and it's proud to be a part of.
Well, I hate the club word as much as you do. When I set up my podcast, I thought, how am I going to do this? Because I have professional hockey, Southwest Weekly. I have NCAA hockey, which I can't use the NCAA, so I had to use college. And then I go, what am I going to call Wednesday, which focuses on my ACHA, which, by the way, is the fastest growing podcast we have. So people are listening, taking notice. So I don't want to offend you, but we had to call it Club because that's all we could do. We couldn't steal the ACHA branding. But anybody that knows or listens to our podcast or watches any of our shows knows that this is way more than Club. It is a way of life. It is a student-driven. It is organized. It is everything that an NCAA program is without the finances and the scholarships to go along with it.
Yeah. And recognizing your demographic, and if it's in the Southwest with, the ASUs, the U of A's, and that division, which has Missouri State, UCO, Oklahoma, UNLV, Grand Canyon now, Utah, the Colorados, all of the most of those programs, big names, and don't tell me they don't treat those like an NCAA program.
Right.
If that's Missouri State, if that's Arizona, those coaches, those players, they're going to an ACHA D1 school. Because for whatever reason, the NCAA D3, and then sometimes even an NCAA D1 type of player, for whatever reason, it didn't work itself out. The finances didn't make sense. They didn't want to go to maybe a smaller school in the middle of nowhere in Minnesota, whatever it might be. And that image, that branding that the ACHA, especially at the D1 level, as you mentioned, is starting to gain a lot of traction. And there's been some dynamite recruiting classes in the Southwest. If that's Arizona, if that's UNLV, once you start getting to that level, which we're planning on, and we're getting there. You're talking to a lot of the same players, and those players that they're getting, the players that we're also getting, they're high caliber players. They're high caliber people. That for whatever reason, a lot of them just NCAA D3 hockey didn't make sense. So, when a lot of our guys that are coming, they still want that NCAA experience. So we're going to give them that because that's what we're building our program off of. So we understand that people need to still have a word for us, club, quote unquote club. But I think as you've seen in this facility, you've seen us play a little bit. Try not to be too humble, but we're the farthest thing from club.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that term really doesn't fit. Okay, we're going to throw that one out the window for now. We're not going to talk club anymore. We're talking ACHA D1 hockey.
There you go.
And I'm looking around your office right now. People can't see what I'm seeing, but I see a big picture that has a goal celebration and a bunch of fans going crazy. And I remember seeing something on social media when I started watching what you were doing out here. I saw Big St. Bernard, and I loved it. I loved it. Tell me about the Big St. Bernard. That's your mascot.
Well, Louis, Big Louis is his name, and we have a player, Trevor Henson, actually our first year that he thought it would be really cool to go get a Saint Bernard as kind of our mascot, but also one that he could bring to the rink and do all those things. So he started out small. He's not. If you ask anyone that lives with Trevor, that is not a small dog. So no, it was just kind of again, it's just part of the fun that we've had here at Maryville. It's we have a big old Saint Bernard that he came to a lot of the games at Afton. He's come to I think a couple at the Maryville University Hockey Center, but as the picture that you're kind of referring to. That's the college experience that Maryville's also trying to provide. We're kind of that smaller campus, but we're growing, and it's about giving not just our players that experience, but also providing our student population, if that's the faculty, those kids that are coming from out of town. Even though they're coming to Maryville, they're not going to the big schools. They still want a college experience and go into a game like that. That's a pretty good college experience, if you ask me.
Okay, so let's talk about the university itself. For people that aren't familiar with Maryville University, you said it's smallish. Tell us about the university. What kind of education can you get here? We already know what their dreams and goals are just by looking at this facility. Yeah. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so, this year they were just recognized as the second fastest growing private university in the nation. Again, with Dr. Lombardi, the leadership that we have, and it's a trickle-down effect. We are growing, and we're kind of redefining the higher education model. And it's an innovative process. We're one of a couple Apple certified schools, and again, it's that cutting edge experience, that education that we're providing, and we hover around 3,000 for your typical undergrad. With our online education, we're over 10,000 students. So that's our university, and we have some really cutting edge. It's sports management, our nursing program, exercise science, our business school, our education school. We have over 100 degrees, and for as I tell our guys that we're recruiting, if there's something for you at Maryville. Sure. But again, we're a couple years ago we're the best kept secret in St. Louis, so we're starting to get that secret out, and in a pandemic world we live in, if there's ever a university that's flexible, hybrid enough, can still give our students that education, that experience through those challenges. If there's ever a university that can figure it out and provide that top experience, it's Maryville, and we're doing that right now.
Okay, so now we know all about this place. We're going to take a quick tour, and you'll be able to see that on the show in just a minute. I want to wrap things up with you, though, John. In just a minute, we'll take a quick break, and we'll come back, and we'll talk about the future, because, as I alluded to, there's a national tournament coming this direction down the road, and we want to talk a little bit about that and how exciting that is for you guys to be able to be right here in the middle of the United States and bring in teams from all over. And you can touch a little bit on how many teams are coming. So let's take a quick break on the Sunday special presented by Bell Ford, and we'll be right back with John Hogan, the director of everything here at the Maryville Hockey Center.
Looking for your next car? Head out to 2401 West Bell Road in Phoenix and stop in at Bell Ford, the Arizona Ford Giant. Come in and check out our great deals on the remaining 2020 Fords, as well as the new 2021 models just arriving, like the new E450 pickup truck during our summer outdoor and SUV sale. Voted the #1 Ford dealer in Arizona by Ranking Arizona, we will do what it takes to make your car buying experience safe and convenient. Shop online at bellford.com. We will bring everything to you on your schedule. Schedule a test drive. Need a repair? We'll come pick up your vehicle and bring it back to you. Our sales and service professionals are ready to help in any way to make sure you are happy and satisfied. Go online to bellford.com or call us at 1-602-866-1776 and let us show you why we've been the dealership that keeps Shane Doan coming back year after year. The Arizona Ford Giant, Bell Ford.
Welcome back into the Sunday Special presented by Bell Ford. I am at Maryville University still, ventured away from the desert Southwest, but for good reason. As you'll see behind me, there's a hashtag, History Starts Now. History has started. Now let's talk about the future, John Hogan. Tell me what's coming down the road in a year or so for you guys here at Maryville University Hockey Center.
Yeah, so in the matter of 3 years, we've gone from one team now to 3 teams. Our women's hockey, it's absolutely crazy. But if you're not growing, you're dying. So we might as well keep growing. So
we're too young to die.
yeah, right, exactly. So we have this season we have our women's hockey team having their inaugural season. So that's going to be super exciting and providing that experience, that inclusive experience at Maryville. So. That's what this season has on its agenda. And as we move forward into the future, we have a national tournament coming to St. Louis right around the corner. And our university has has always had some aspirations for maybe some higher level things. So we're just trying to do the right things and bring as many people here as we know, if that's recruiting, if that's players, if that's national tournaments, just so they know all about Maryville.
It makes sense to me when I look at it, and I live in the West, and I wouldn't mind coming to St. Louis for a national tournament. I know the East Coast schools have a lot of bias in themselves, and I don't mind going east either, but in all fairness, when we're talking about ACHA hockey, doesn't it make the most sense to be in the middle part of the country where travel is equal for both sides, as opposed to packing up from Tucson or Phoenix or Las Vegas and having to go all the way across the country to Boston? And again, nothing against that. I'm not saying that in any stretch, because it's nice to see other parts, but it makes sense to be right here. I mean, this is becoming a hockey mecca with the Blues winning the Stanley Cup last year and the growth that you're talking about in the area. So I'm all for it, right? I mean, I would be jumping on a car. I just did. I drove 2 days to get here, and it's well worth it.
Yeah. And I think I'm probably a little biased because I have maybe the Chad Berman thought process of, and that goes for UNLV, ASU, the teams that are going to nationals at the D1 level a lot and the D2 level, especially with ASU and maybe GCU, and those Colorados. It's a long way to go to New England or wherever it is. And I know when we were in Columbus for 2 years, that was too far west for some people.
Right. Which makes no sense.
But you're always going to have that pressure. You're always going to have that pushback, and for me, St. Louis is as centrally located as you can get. We have a lot of ACHA teams around. I think over 80% of them, are within 9 or 10 hours away. Right. You're going to have a couple that need to maybe fly, take Southwest, or grabbing for a little bus trip of 20 hours. But I think it's doable for everyone. Yeah. When you go up east, if you go out west, it's not doable for everyone. So again, I'm as biased as anyone because it's it's home for me. Right. But I think if you're trying to look at a bigger picture, if it's the ACHA, St. Louis provides a lot of strengths and advantages to host a national tournament here.
Okay, so the pandemic comes in and it causes problems with everything. I mean, your season's starting, I'm guessing, later than normal. We know in the Desert Southwest that the WCHL is not going to start until January at the earliest. Everything's still up in the air. Tell us a little bit about the future short term, as in the next couple of months. What are you doing? What are you preparing for?
Yeah, so hopefully we can start getting on the ice here soon. Our university is being just cautious with a lot of other universities that are having major spikes. So for us, it's just about providing a healthy and safe learning environment, and then hopefully we can start getting on the ice here soon. So that's what the next 3 months looks like. But hopefully as the year turns around to 2021, hopefully we can have a meaningful season. And if it goes the way that we're hoping, we're going to play every weekend, maybe some weeknight games, and as much as we're missing hockey now, there's going to be plenty of hockey come the second semester. And then, our 3 teams competing for conference and national tournaments. And, as in St. Louis, the national tournament's, going to be here next season. But, there's still things that they're trying to resolve right now in the ACHA right now. And, does it make sense to have 72 teams in Boston? I don't know that answer.
Yeah.
So I know people are kind of pinballing and some ideas around, and maybe things change a little bit, and we have to minimize our national tournament, or maybe we have to do some different things just for this year. There's no good ideas.
Right.
So you have to pick the best bad idea. So I know if we're hoping to have the national tournament at the Centene and at the Maryville Hockey Center next season, but as this year, nothing is certain, and we're you're just trying to kind of tape things together, get through it, make the best of a bad situation, and if things if they start steering things away from Boston, I know that there's going to be several cities, several teams that kind of throw up their hand and say, we'd be able to, pick someone up if they need to, and have another alternative. So I know we would be, we'd be proud to help out the ACHA and anything that we can do in a pandemic year just to get through it.
Well, I told you off camera, I said my thought would be it's a pandemic year, it's a mess, everything's in upheaval, if you will. But when things do get back to normal, and it's a shorter season, we already know it's 3 weeks moved back for the national tournament.
Yep.
That's already a done deal as far as the weekend of when that'll be. But why not make it a big bang? Why not make it something fun, exciting, even if it's just for 1 year? Just go for it and see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. It's and I think there's going to be a tremendous amount of energy, excitement. We've all been sitting on our thumbs here for a while.
Right.
Like, everyone's going to be just ecstatic to be back in rinks. And I think we're all hopeful for that, and we're all hoping that that's going to be the case. And if that's Maryville, if that's any other ACHA team, if it's Division 1, 2, 3, women's 1 and 2, we got to expect that come March, April, we're going to be back in some better times and better circumstances. So when those national tournaments come, there's going to be a lot of people, yourself included, that are going to want to cover that and want to watch it, want to be a part of it.
Absolutely.
Because we've missed a lot of those things, and I think we're going to take some deeper appreciation for those events. All being in a building, all those type of things, and maybe will look different, sure, but I'm with you. We gotta hit some home runs, some grand slams here as the national tournaments roll around.
Well, speaking of home runs, the NHL, I thought, hit a home run by selecting 2 bubble cities to do theirs. I understand with colleges it's a lot different than that, and you're dealing with different type of athletes and a different organization. The NHL's got a lot of money behind it and a lot of resources.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what they did was they blew it out of the water. I mean, they brought back hockey, and we called it that starting in August. We called it Welcome Back to Hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they just blew past the welcome part. They're just back to hockey. And I'm guessing that if colleges can do the same type of thing, and I'm talking about the experience, I'm not talking about 2 bubbles somewhere,
Yep.
but just making it safe and experience. One thing we've all learned, I think, with the pandemic is we're all a little more careful about what we do now.
Yeah.
It's not nice. It's not fun to wear a mask, but we do it when we have to. Everybody's a little more cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's concerned with each other instead of just themselves. So let's wrap things up by just telling me about the pandemic and what it's done to and for the university here at Maryville.
Like everyone, I don't think we would never have hoped this were to happen, but you do try to take the opportunity at the adversity, and you do try to kind of embrace the challenge and saying, how can we get through it, one, but then also how can we grow from it? How can we learn from it? And if that's personally, if that's us as a group, our teams, if that's as a program, and if that's us as a university, as a community, as a nation, whatever it is, we have to kind of come together and understand that, okay, we'll get through it. This too shall pass. There's brighter days ahead, but what can we do in the interim. And I think kind of embracing those challenges at Maryville as a university and saying, you know, that this is not going to be normal.
Right.
We have to embrace that, and kind of that, as I mentioned earlier, that can attitude instead of that can't attitude. What can we do still? We can still get an education. We can still provide them with a hybrid, virtual and online. We're not stuck inside watching Netflix all day anymore. You do have to be spaced out in gyms, sure, but you can still go out. You go for runs. You can, focus on some things that maybe as we're going through our daily lives before pandemic that we couldn't have, if that's
Or chose not to.
exactly, if that's getting out to vote in November, if that's having a deeper dive into kind of social injustice items, which is very true in sports, and especially something that in the hockey world that we're trying to combat. All of those things. I think Maryville, in times of struggle, if that's a political, if that's a community, or like a pandemic, and all of this, I think that's when the true character of people of university comes out. And I think Maryville, our kids, our coaches, our administrators, we're kind of showing what it means to be a saint. We have a hashtag Saint Strong now. All those things. It's you're proud to work here. You're proud to be a part of it, and our kids are going to be better for it. They're going to be better people. Dads, moms in the future. And that's all you can do. You can only have perspective, and you can only try to grow from these challenges.
Well, I'm going to end it with this. History starts now. It started here. It's the future now. So we made a new hashtag for you guys. The future is what? Bright? Is that a safe terminology to use? I struggle with this just a little bit because I've known you for 4 years now, and I know you as John Hogan, the player. Now I call you Coach Hogan, but nothing could be prouder. And I speak, I'm sure, for a lot of people in the Desert Southwest, John, that we're very proud of what you've accomplished here. And when you see this facility, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about, folks. So, John Hogan, director of everything, Maryville University Hockey at the Maryville University Hockey Center right here in Chesterfield, Missouri. Thank you for being my guest today on the Sunday Special presented by Bell Ford, and best of luck to you down the road.
Thank you, my friend. So this is kind of our player lounge. It's not enormous or anything, but for us, we don't, especially in a pandemic, we don't really need this space. But when our pandemic's over, just having a space for our girls and guys to come and hang out in, if they're not in the classroom or anything, and just want to hang out and get to know one another. That we have this area in here. So. We're using it as storage right now for all of our new equipment. But yeah, just if they want to play NHL 20, do homework, it's laid out a little differently. So we've walked down a little bit underneath the benches now. So now we're going to take a look at our D1 locker room. It has about 30 stalls, and like everywhere at Maryville University Hockey Center, you know where you're at. So again, just to make sure, if you don't forget our kind of motto, history starts now, and we're the Saints, and we're at Maryville here. So 30 stalls in here. Again, maybe not the biggest in an NCAA, but it sure is maybe one of the nicest. And So we have 3 teams here. So we have our ACHA men's 1 team, our ACHA men's 2 team, and then also our new women's team. So this is our second locker room, and this is the room that houses our men's 2 team. There's 27 in here. So third and finally, this is our new women's locker room. Has 20 plus stalls in it. Again, for our inaugural women's team this year.